what were the treatments? How contagious was it? How lethal was it? You know, nobody knew. So, you know, we'd see Tushar going into work to treat patients, knowing that if he were to contract it, how poorly would he become? You know, would he bring it home? Would he bring it home to me, to my children? You know, there was points where we discussed about him moving out, or should we move out? Having to, you know, put your clothes straight into the washing machine, come through the back door, and as you go past the washing machine, they all went in and then straight up for a shower. These are all things that we were not used to, but just doing anything to try and protect the home from bringing the virus in. There's people with the healthcare workers that were living with vulnerable people. Now, can you imagine the thought of going to work and bringing a virus home to potentially your vulnerable children or vulnerable parents or vulnerable partner, anybody, giving them the virus and potentially killing them, which is what is happening out there. So it was stressful. We had anxiety, there was worry. But at the same time, at that point, it was well, we've just got to get on with it, because what can we do? There were patients there that needed Tushar, and they needed all the other healthcare professionals that were there. It would be a bit much to sort of say, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not prepared to put myself. I think it was just your hospital needs you sort of thing. So that's what he did.
In fact, we got in touch with our financial advisor and got our wills done in case something happens. And if something happens to me, you know, what about the children and things? So that's a constant worry for us, and all my colleagues.
And in terms of that, you're obviously sort of doing everything you had from a professional point of view, but you must have been thinking as well about your partner at home, your wife at home, who would be worrying about you, knowing that you were doing a professional job and knowing you were doing everything you could, but at the same time, knowing that every day was a potential step into the equivalent of a war zone, if you like.
Absolutely. You know, you get into work, you go with a frame of mind, I'm gonna get through today. You finish your duties, and then you're thinking, next thing is, I need to go home, and how do I make sure I don't carry anything home? And what do I do with my coat, with my clothes, with my bag? You know, simple things like that, which things we take for granted. You're trying to have shower in work, then you come home, then you go into back garden and strip completely, and then you walk inside the house, making sure things don't actually. I could be, you know, shedding virus from my hair. You know, there is constant worry. You don't need much to infect anybody, and it's so easy for me to just walk home and bring something in. And I'm asthmatic, and at that time we may have heard a lot of Asian doctors were being affected. So I was myself in the high risk group, or I would say moderate risk group, because I'm otherwise fit. But the point was, you know, this is unprecedented, and we all have to get together and work through this. But I think the biggest stress for me has been bringing the disease home, more than myself, you know, to my wife. We didn't know if children were getting ill, you know. This all started in February.
I mean, we've got 2 young girls aged, well, they're 8 and 10 now. The first thing that a child often wants to do when their dad has been on a 12, 14, 16-hour shift, so they want to hug their dad as soon as they walk through the door. And we had to stop them from doing that. Fortunately, they're mature enough to sort of understand why, but trying to explain to them that just hang on, just let your dad have a shower, you know, just wait a minute. That, you know, it's small things like this that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily realise was going on, but it's having to say to the children, okay, stand back, your dad's going up the stairs now for a shower, and that became part of their normal routine. They understood that then.